the partnership thing is particularly great for two reasons. Number one, it broadens the value that you can get, the topics that you can cover when you partner with someone. And number two, it allows you to get in front of a bigger audience, because if you both share it, then you gain access to their audience. Maybe they gain access to your audience, and you reach a larger pool of people. So I love doing partnerships, especially for Catalyst content, which is what we're focusing on. So an ideal partner basically comes down to target audience. You want your partner to have the same target audience as you. They're talking to the same people, the same companies in the B2B world, but they're providing a different service or a different product, right? So you're not competing directly, but you are reaching that same audience and perhaps providing complementary things. So it makes a lot of sense. So there's multiple ways how that could play out. So what might that look like? So this webinar series, which obviously for you, it's an ongoing kind of thing, almost more nurturing content, but it could be a webinar, a standalone thing, or something you do maybe quarterly or whatever that looks like. That's an awesome way to partner with somebody to sort of co-present a virtual event, a webinar, those kinds of things. It can also look like simply providing content in order to access their platform. There's some companies, I know Lori and I work on this as well, to write blog articles or provide content to companies, and they're looking for content too for their blog or for their email newsletter. And so approaching them and saying, rather than saying, how can we partner? How can we pitch to your people? Can we buy your list or whatever? Say, we would love to offer to create some content for you. And companies are often much more open to that because they love to share content. It's mutually beneficial for their audience to do that as well. So there's again, with Catalyst content, you can expand that. What if you had multiple partners? What if you did a series, it used to be called like a summit, which sometimes get kind of huge and out of control, but I don't know, maybe it's a week, maybe 5 days, and you have a different partner every day, where you create a really cool, valuable experience and you reach all 5 of those audiences. So that can be exciting as well. So those are just some ideas of what partnering through content might look like. So oftentimes your partners are likely going to be companies and people that you're familiar with. Not that you can't sort of cold call on this. And honestly, when I did a summit, I did have to sort of cold call essentially some potential partners and say, here's what I'm doing. So it's important, if you're going to be the lead, let's call it the lead on the partner project, content project, to have the idea, we're going to do a webinar, and here's what I was thinking, and here's the role that you could play, and here's how it benefits you. I mean, you know this, Jared, every time you're approaching someone about anything, and this isn't really a sale, but it does require some engagement and time and investment of resources on their part if they're going to participate, but it also provides benefit on both sides. You've got to be able to show them that if we do this together, here's what you could potentially get out of it. And that's the beautiful thing about content partnerships, is it's win-win. What we want is for both sides to have content to share, both sides to be able to reach new people. The audience is going to get to learn new information and have new options. So I always try to approach it as more of giving. We're going to give, we're going to create value. I'm offering this to you, we're offering this to our audience. How cool would this be? And the momentum you can create from that is powerful. It's different from, how can I pay to put an ad in your email so people will click on it and get it just feels different. Do you feel the difference when you're offering to provide that added benefit? I've heard a statistic, and I don't know the exact numbers or reference here, but sales is going more and more digital and virtual. And by the time they talk to a salesperson like Jared or whoever it is in your company, people have done their research. They've gone online, they've looked to see if there's content, they've read your content, they know more about you. The decision is usually more than half made by the time they have that phone conversation. That is the power of building that content platform online, is that opportunity to show your value, to build that relationship, to demonstrate all of that, so that by the time they get on the phone or take that next step, you've earned that trust. Is basically your nurturing content. It's the thing you create consistently, and you've involved partners in that part of the strategy. So we have basically a webinar series. We called it, eventually you kind of branded it Exploration Tech. That's something that you've created. What does that nurturing content look like for a business? I actually think it's a lot of work, and you can speak to this, Jared, to create partnerships on like a weekly basis. Keep up with that, which is why I focused more when it comes to partnerships, often starting with Catalyst content, and planning one of those in, say, Q1 or in the next 6 months. Let's create a really cool partnership lead magnet opportunity, maybe with our distributors, but maybe with looking around at, so I know people don't go so much to those big trade show kinds of events these days anymore, but we all know the organizations that we belong to. What are some of the other businesses who belong, who often have booths next to us, who are trying to reach the same audience that we're trying to reach? That's a good place to start as well, to look through and say, who might, we be able to have a sort of synergistic relationship with.